Okay, today we're going to be talking about a family activity. The house, when you're working around the house, it's nice to have family activities since everybody is enjoying themselves in the same house. So for an evening of craft or art, I have a suggestion. What I've done to kind of simulate what I would like to suggest is I've done 3 members of the elephant family. So we got the father, the mother, and the child. And so it would be fun if you would try doing self-portraits of each other. And what's important about that is to know that it doesn't make any difference, whether you get a perfect likeness or not. It's to try to express something about that person, their energy, or maybe a particular expression or something like that. So however you work that out, it is a nice activity to do together. But then, once you have your portraits together, then I also suggest that you have an exhibition of the work. And so I'm using that as a way of being able to talk to you about how to maybe mount the work in a very simple way that still will look good and will also preserve the work. Even if they're your child's work or something the family does together, you want it to last. So you want to make sure that you're going to do things that are not going to destroy it. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm looking at the 3 pieces here. These are about the same size. This is a little bit smaller, and I think that I'll probably put them in the same mats. Now, rather than necessarily getting a mat board or something like that, I have a really nice watercolor paper. And first thing I do is, I know it's 9 by 12 paper, and I will measure how much of this I want to actually show. So that's 5 inches by 7 inches, another 7 inches by 5 inches, and this one's a little bit different. It's going to be more like about 4 inches by 4.5. So generally what I do is I'll jot those numbers down and I'll start doing the math. So if I have a 9 by 12 piece of paper and I want that to be 7 inches, then I have 5 inches left over. So that could be 2.5 inch border all the way around, but I'm going to give myself a little bit extra, and I'm going to just call that 2. And then I've got the other 5, so that's 4. Divide that in half, so that's 2. So essentially what I'm doing is saying how much of this width is going to be taken up by the opening of my mat, and then how much border I have, and I try to keep the borders fairly even. So I have this as an example of what you don't want to happen. You want to make sure that you wash your hands and that you're not working with a dirty surface. You want everything to be clean, so you don't want fingerprints, you don't want to pick up extra stuff. All right, so I'll flip it over though, pretending that that isn't the case, and you can see that what I did with my ruler is I marked out 2 inches there, 2 inches there, all the way around, drew the lines, and then I used a craft knife to cut it out with. Now this is the part that depends on this being a family activity, so mom or dad or the responsible adult should be the one to handle the knife, and you just very carefully follow the score or you follow the outlines, and then you can pop out the inside and then you have a mat. So I've already done that with the pieces that I wanted to do. And on this watercolor paper, you have a smooth side and you have a rough side. And I thought that the rough side was just a little bit nicer. You can see that when I put that down on top of this portrait, it does a nice job of matting it. Now, in order to make sure that that works out, I've taken a heavier Bristol paper. And what I'm going to do is take my mat, I'm going to put the 2 together and line them up. I'm going to take tape. Now, I'm not worried about the archival quality of the tape that I'm using here because it has nothing to do with touching the artwork. Now, this is called a hinged mat, and I can take the drawing and put it underneath the mat, and I can line it up the way that I want. And I have these 2 thin pieces of paper. This is more like a marker paper, and I'm going to take a glue stick, and I'm going to put some paste there. And without moving my drawing, I'm going to put that down there. So I'm gluing this to the back, but this is a water-soluble, reversible glue. And I'll put that back down there. Make sure that stays. I'll put some tape here so that doesn't move. So the picture is anchored onto the back piece. That's anchored to that. And so now I will take a magnet, and I don't have a refrigerator in my studio, but I do have this locker. And so I can use the magnet, and there I have the artwork hanging. So once I get the other pieces done and hanging up there, then we can have an opening, and you can have art night at your home. So the art tip, enjoy each other, have family night, and have your own opening.